Hello and welcome to an ongoing series where we will be having discussions with the DoDEA Principal of the Year, James Strait, for a series that we're calling Leadership Chat Straight Up, where we have easy questions but very tough answers. So we're glad you're here, and let's get started with question number one. So James, tell us your story. Who are you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I appreciate it, Dr. Marzak. I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and I grew up in the inner city, so I wouldn't have never imagined myself being an administrator, because growing up in the inner city, you know, there's high expectations but low expectations from what you see by looking in. So growing up in San Antonio, Texas, I went to Sam Houston High School, and I was a pretty good student, I think, at the point, but being in the city and seeing all the violence and all that's happening, so we really, kids like us really felt like we didn't have choices in life. Just growing up, we're seeing our friends getting killed and murdered, and drugs and gangs and all that. So seeing all those type of things happening, but I just knew I had a calling that was out there somewhere that's stating that we want more for you. So I got involved in track and field and football. So sports is one of those avenues that helped me get out of that type of environment. And I had people in my life that helped me through those journeys, like coaches and teachers. After graduation, I ended up going to school up in Kansas on a track scholarship, and just having that opportunity to continue to be involved in a team. And I think that shaped a lot of the things that I see that's really important for me as a leader, is that team environment, but just being part of a team on the track team. So I went to Kansas for a year. Then after that, I ended up transferring up to Minnesota. So that's why I spent my last 3 years going to college. But I started off majoring in business, because all your friends, you want to try to follow them. And I have friends that went into business, and I was like, you know what, this is a lot of math and all this economics. So I ended up changing, my major once I got up to Bethel in Minnesota, because I wanted to say, I want to be around kids. I want to be, that's something I want to do, because I had those teachers and coaches in my life that shaped who I was growing up, and being that person, that mentor for me. So I ended up going into education, but I only picked physical education, but I didn't do the teaching part. I was like, I need to hurry up and get through college. So let me take the easy route out. So I chose, which I was an athlete at the time, All-American in college too. So that's why I chose the sports. But when I graduated from college, I was like, what are we gonna do? I was already married, and my wife. We had our oldest son at the time. So I was like, you know what? This is real life now. Now we have to pay bills.
This is real life. I love that.
So we have to pay bills now. So I ended up joining the military. Right after I got out of college, and so we went on active duty at the time there. And
what branch did you join?
It was Army.
Army, gotcha.
So our first duty station was Fort Drum, New York. So one of the hardest units that you can go in, besides the 101st and 82nd. And once we got there, I had my wife. We had my youngest Jordan with us, and we drove there. Went to U-Haul all the way up to New York from Minnesota. So which was nice. So once we got to we got in the hotel, then I signed up to my unit, and they said, okay, you're gonna be deployed to Haiti, and that was back in 94. Yeah, 94. Mm-hmm. So once I got to Haiti, I did 3 years of active duty with Fort Drum. Then I ended up getting out. One of the reasons I got out of the military, went to reserves. Sorry, but I had the opportunity to make the All-Army team at track and field. So
really,
so I had the opportunity to go to Fort Huachuca to try out, for the team there. And once you do that, once you make the team, then that's kind of your military career, until somebody beats you out on that. Then the next person step up. So I had the opportunity to do that. And then, after that, I was like, this is not something I want to do. So we got out and went, out after duty, and I did the reserve time my last 16 years. And I went to officer school at that time, too, to become a warrant officer. So I retired as a warrant officer. I did many deployments, into Iraq and Afghanistan, Haiti, as I said. And a lot of that shaped who I was, that's working as a team. It shows how important that we all have to work together, because it's not about one person. It's about the team and getting people involved and empowering people, to be, who they can be. And so that helped shape a lot. Because we were, I looked at as an education, teaching kids and leading a school, that, we're here to prepare kids for, to be great citizens once they leave here. We got to make sure kids are prepared when they leave Kubasaki High School, that because we're setting them up for success, or we setting them up for failure. So we're not giving 100% in everything we do. Then those kids are not going to be ready, for when they leave Kubasaki. So that's kind of my story, where I started and kind of where I'm at now. At this point in my life. So
you retired from the military.
Yeah.
You obviously went back to school to become a principal.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yes,
Where'd you go to school?
I went to I went to Bethel University, Kansas, and Bethel University for my bachelor's. I had to go back to get the student teaching part. Then I did Capella University for my master's and my EDS and all that. So to get my principal license and my superintendent license and all that, and trying to finish up this doctorate. So, I keep that motivation going so I can get that done. I'm almost there.
There it is.
Yes,
it
yes.
is. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So how did you get into DoDEA? How did that journey happen?
That happened, and what's great about that is I was in Camp Bering, Kuwait. We were helping with the drawdown in 2012. And I ended up out just doing some job searching because I was in Minnesota as a principal and going on my 12th year there. And 8th year in Minnesota. Then I was like, let's see what else is out there. And I never knew that DoDEA, that we have schools on military bases.
Yeah.
I knew, because I'm from San Antonio, we had Fort Sam Houston. We had a school there, but it was run by the school district. It was Cole High School. That's where Shaquille O'Neal graduated from. So that's how I knew about that. But this, I applied when I was looking on USA Jobs.
Yeah.
And I saw say principal, and I was like, oh wow. So I can be a principal for, I thought it was just military schools. I didn't really put all the other pieces together. So I said, you know what, let me apply. But what I did, I applied as assistant principal because I was like, any new organization you go to, you want to make sure you're setting yourself for success. Not going in as a principal, I would say it would have been too much for me to learn the system.
Yeah.
Because I know how to lead, but just learning the system, I said, let me go in as assistant principal so I could understand the agency and get more, learn more about it. Then after I'd been there for a couple of years, then I applied for principalship. But that's what I did. I applied and I interviewed with Dr. Curtis, that's retired a few years back, and my first duty station was going to be Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, but after they realized that my son has a birth defect, they ended up changing to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So I did 2 years and 9 months at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I was rifted. So I had choices to go to Fort Knox or go to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So obviously we selected Puerto Rico.
How long have you been here in Okinawa?
Since October 18th of 2019.
Damn, you got it down to the date.
Date, so it's
Look at
almost.
you.
I'm almost 3 years. So it seemed like it was longer than that, but it's 3 years there.
So what was it like becoming the DoDEA Principal of the Year?
I think and it's never, and that's one of the big things. It's never about me. It's about the team. I think growing up little and all the way up to now, we always instill that it's all about. And I think it's where from coaching to being involved in team sports and stuff, it's about the team. But for us to get the recognition as a school, yes, my name is as principal, but it's about the school, and I think just getting that opportunity to share our story and the things that we have done. It's been short. It hasn't been a long time. I mean, I just got, like I said, it's going on 3 years, and we're able to do all this, and and we still got a long road to go. We still got a journey. But to be able to make change and get the community so happy about, and the staff and the students so happy about the school is what it's all about. So it's it's not about that little crystal thing we have there, which is nice to have, but it's it's continuing to get us recognized on the map, that positive stuff. I'll recognize that we are we do have excellent schools. Both schools, Kadena too is an excellent school, but we are we have challenging. We got great teachers, great staff, great students. So it's an honor just to represent. And two, I would never thought like I said, growing up in the inner city, and then being selected as a principal. I won many awards, in track and field sports and combat patches. So I have all that, but I think this is probably the most rewarding because it's where just how many people were involved in it and to make that change.